Welcome to another edition of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Coming up in today's episode, so last week we had a period of very cold weather across the UK, and luckily here it wasn't too cold. The snow didn't really appear here, so had a few flurries but nothing really settled, and the lowest temperature we had was -3, so it wasn't as bad. There's a lot of the country that went down to -6 to -12 in the central parts of England and Wales. But it has caused some damage in the garden, so I'll just go through those plants that have been damaged, although I don't think any of them have been killed. Here's the carnivorous plants after being completely frozen. Still got the Venus flytraps and the pitcher plants, and they look okay. Bit of singeing, a little bit of dieback on some of the leaves, but overall they look okay. Let's see if they get through winter. So the Kamado palm, as you can see, is still evergreen and completely untouched by the cold. And the Cyathea, the leaves, the fronds have blackened off completely where they've been exposed. When they've had a little bit of fleece over them, they're still green. So that plant under there is probably still fine. The regular Dixonia antarctica tree ferns, they're fine. Tetrapanax mainly blackened off, but again that'll be fine. The cannas completely blackened off. No life in them at all, the top growth, but obviously the base, the rhizomes will be fine. A very sorry looking Tetrapanax there. Bootia, still got the raptor base of that, taken off the fleece from around the crown, and that's untouched at this stage. More blackened cannas. Got the washy. Not really showing you the washy, that's under the Tetrapanax. That's completely fine. You can see that a bit better now. Nice green growth on that. No damage at all to the leaves. And that's not protected yet. So obviously got the palms, Orphyllus, got the fleece bag over that, and the Cycas, and the Brea Marta. I'm not going to take them off yet because we've still got a few more days of cold to come. And the Brea Edulis. Obviously the Musabaju, they've blackened off pretty much now. We've still got all the straw around the base, so they'll be fine. I'm growing to really like this Bootia odorata. Really nice form of the leaves, furling back like that. Nice hard fronds as well. Really robust plant. It's grown from a tiny plant to this good size now. So it's a good about 1.20 m across, well more than that, 1.20 m, 1.30 m tall. Milianthus major, not blackened at all. That's looking fine. That'll be fine down to about -4, -5. Alright, let's have a look under this straw and see what we've got. It's not ideal to put straw on this plant. This is the Echium. But I just wanted to try to protect it because I thought we were going to get a lot lower temperature. That's looking okay. That should be fine. And obviously we've got straw on all these plants still. I'm not gonna look under that. I'll wait till spring. Jabea, taking out the fleece that I had around the top of that so we can get some air. The arid bed, it's early days yet, but looking okay on the Americana there, the agaves, and the Montana's fine. Let's have a look underneath here. Oh, it's a bit slippy and icy. Let's see if we've got, yeah. So the Echeveria totally fine, untouched under there, no blackness and rot. Let's keep that covered for now. A few more icy days to come. Yeah, these aloes are fine. So these are Aloe striatula, and then underneath the shelter you got Aloe polyfilla, which looks okay at the moment. Fingers crossed that stays that way. Right, let's go across the bridge. So the plant of the week last week, the Lignum ferns, hard ferns, they're totally fine untouched, nice and evergreen. Got the Trachycarpus, and they're totally fine. And then actually still got these Aeoniums, which that one's a bit dodgy, but the rest are actually, they're fine. They've survived with a bubble wrap on top of them. So down to -3-ish. If there's not too many more cold days, they've got a chance of getting through. Very unlikely, but there's a small chance to get through. Obviously these are fine here. The Martianus I looked at the other day under there, and that's fine. And the tree ferns, a little bit of blackening of some of the fronds, a bit scorching, but overall, look at them. They still look good. So overall, the garden's looking okay. It's got rid of that cold spell, a few more cold days to come, and the next week is looking very mild. Now this is the fastest growing Trachycarpus at the moment. And this is Trachycarpus princeps hybrid, so it's probably crossed with a Fortunae or Nova. And it's grown really quickly. Quite a robust plant now. Hardiness is untested really, but it's been fine down to -4, -5. And what we're going to do with this plant is we're going to watch it throughout 2018. We're going to set up a time-lapse camera and see how fast it grows and what's the fronds, the leaves push out the centre. So to do that, I have got a time-lapse camera here on the tripod, and this camera will take a photograph regularly throughout the year, a couple a day, and when we put all the images together at the end of the year, we'll hopefully see 3, 4, 5, 6 fronds push out the centre, and you can see that grow over 30 seconds a minute, a year's growth in a minute. That'll be the plan, and we'll see how that quickly that grows and watch that unfurl. So that's the plan for the time-lapse camera. And these are waterproof. I've had these for about 5-6 years now. They do a good job. Done many videos, and one of the videos I'll show you right now. Now this odd looking contraption is my weather station, and this is what monitors the weather conditions in my garden and records them. So as you can see, it's measuring wind speed and wind direction, also measures the rainfall in a self-tipping bucket that empties, and thermometer there as well, so it gives me the temperature. This is shielded from the sun in that little bit there, but there's good ventilation to get an accurate reading. And the important thing about this is it's not at ground level. It's 2 meters away from any other surfaces, so there's a garage roof. It's over 2 meters away from there. It is a bit higher than what we really want. It's about 3.5 meters off the ground, maybe 4 meters. And this feeds through, automatically sends signals to a little box in the house and beams it up to the internet every 5 or 7 seconds, and it keeps a record of everything. And this is how I can see what temperatures and weather conditions I get in the garden, and then for future I can see what plants will grow in the garden because of the temperature extremes we get. Now one thing people often don't understand is the air temperature compared to the ground temperature. So the air temperature is what's measured by weather stations like this, and more fancy complicated ones that you get at official weather stations across the country, and those are the ones that are used on the weather forecasts on TV and official records. The air temperature is used, can be compared fairly with all of the locations in the world, whereas the ground temperature, that is affected obviously by the mass of the ground, what's growing, what's the surface made out of, if there's sunlight on it or not. So that can vary greatly from across a short distance and from place to place. So when we've had temperatures of say -5, -10 this week in England and Wales, that has been the air temperature. It's not been the ground temperature. So the ground temperature could be much, much colder than that. So even here where we had -3 this week, I'm assuming, I didn't test, but I think the ground temperature will have been a lot colder. And we had ice for several days after the air temperature risen to 3, 4, 5, 6 degrees. But the ground still got ice on it, and that is because here we have a flower. This is a Brugmansia. It's not a named variety, but it's nice to see it flowering at this time of year in the greenhouse. And so the plant of the week this week is the giant bamboo Jusquea gigantea from South America. It's pretty hardy, down to about -10. Any lower and it will defoliate, but it will come back from lower. And it throws up these huge culms which grow many meters into the sky. And it's evergreen, it's wind resistant, it's easy to grow. It just spread, it is called a clumper, but it's a giant clumper, so it will spread out. But I just think it looks so exotic with these thick canes. The foliage is a nice dark green too, and it looks like this all year round, so it looks good in winter as well as summer. Obviously in summer you get the new culms emerging from the ground, thick purpley pink bulges out of the ground, and over just a few weeks they'll rocket into the air a good 4 to 8 meters up there. So a fantastic hardy bamboo for the garden, and one I wouldn't be without. So the weather has turned bad outside now. It is now raining, so I've come inside, and it's a good point to think about the weather ahead. And looking at the forecast, after a frost, which is likely tonight, it's going to get mild for the rest of the week. So we're going to see daytime temperatures up to 10 or 11 degrees, or at best, but at worst 7 or 8 degrees, and night times the frost will be gone. So the plants will get to have a bit of a rest from all the frost and ice we've had in the previous week, and that brings it up to Christmas Eve, which will be the next edition of Yorkshire Kris Weekly. So stay tuned and watch the next edition for looking back at 2017 and planning for 2018. Thanks so much.